Alright, in this video, together with a special guest, our World War Army USA advisor, we will be looking at USA faction and talking about important points and notes relating to playing USA effectively. Welcome to the channel. This month's weekly specials, we will be looking into each faction together with a World War Army advisor for that faction, and I hope these videos could help new players, especially new players to the game and those who are having challenges with playing the factions. I hope these videos will help you get better at understanding the factions and to be able to play more effectively. And yeah, do subscribe if you would like to be notified when these videos come out. So let me just share some notes, and then later on we'll hear more from our USA advisor Killbot420. So for USA, one important point to note is that it is a very strong tier 2 faction, and it has a weaker tier 3 compared to the other factions. And so the way I like to play USA is by making sure we do not lose too much in tier 1 but quickly save up enough to upgrade into tier 2. USA faction also has cheaper upgrade cost to tier 2, and so it's not that difficult to quickly tier up to tier 2. So what do we want to be doing for USA faction in the early game is to capture all the resource points in our side of the map. Of course, try to compete for one if not both of the crates, but then don't have to be too aggressive in trying to dominate the early game, at least until you have tiered up into tier 2, because in tier 2 for USA, that is where USA really shines with all its very strong units. And so units that I would suggest all USA decks should have are Engineers, Shermans, and the Wolverine. Engineers mainly because of their ability to repair units and also repair structures. In this current meta where base kill is still a very common strategy, having engineers to repair the base is very useful. And also, of course, in tank battles, you don't really have to retreat your tanks all the way back to the base. To have engineers halfway through to repair your units is very useful in enabling your tanks to return into combat very quickly. Sherman, well, because it is the best medium tank in tier 2 for all the factions, and more of because of its multi-purpose role that it can be used in combat to serve as a tank in soaking certain damage in the middle game, and also because it is quick, it can chase tanks that are trying to retreat, or also retreat quickly and not die every time in combat when it has to retreat. So yeah, Sherman is a must-have for our USA deck if you want to have a very good chance in winning the tier 2 battles. And Wolverine because the most reliable tank destroyer unit for USA. And yeah, so Wolverine's a very strong unit to have. And so you can never go wrong with these three units. You can level them up as high as possible, even though you are at very early stages in the game, as you will still be using these units in higher ratings as well. Alright, let's hear more from our USA advisor, Killbot420.
Hey Chauso, hope you're doing well today. And for everybody else, this is Killbot420. I play World War Armies. It's gotta be the best RTS on a mobile platform. Current rank is Brigadier General. Overall medal count of 12,865. Main faction is USA with a medal count of 4,584. I'll be going over a couple of points about playing USA as a faction. I look at USA as a whole, I guess, as in you would look at a train taking off from a standstill. It's slow to get started, but man, once it gets going, it's super hard to stop. I would highly recommend that newer players, even newish to medium skilled players, really go look at the unit bios and read what the stats are. See what your units can do and how they're going to be effective in battle. Just starting out, I think it took about 10 games maybe for me to really figure out what was going on, get a grasp. But I would say realistically, you're looking at about 15 to 20 games. Your first 20 games, you should have a good grasp on what your units can do. 20 to 35 games maybe, you should know the basics by now, like avoiding MG damage or reversing a tank. And if not, I'm sure this is a perfect time for Chauso to plug a link to his other videos. But anyway, so it goes by pretty quick. By then you'll have a good grasp of what's going on with your team, so see how your deck and playstyle works out in those maps and take advantage of that. Now let's talk about maps here for a second, because there's only 3 maps. And unlike the other 2 teams, Germany and USSR, USA plays differently across each map. Coastline, in my opinion, for USA is probably the most challenging map to play on because it's so condensed. It's so small of a map. So because USA is slow in tier 1, they really have a lacking for defense, so it's hard to defend that one middle point. It makes it very easy for the opponent to just sneak across there and very early game capture your resource points, which makes it kind of difficult. So the small map is challenging, but I still enjoy it because it's small and very confrontational. But the other 2 maps, Riverport and Three Bridges, are by far the best maps to play on as far as USA. They give you just enough room to move around, collect things, while giving your early infantry enough time to get to where they need to go. Tier 2 unlocks the majority of your tanks, and by now you should know which tanks best suit your playstyle. Best thing I guess I could suggest is know what you're spending your resources on. Don't just send anything out into the battlefield. Know what you're sending, why you're sending it, where it's going, and what it's supposed to do. It kind of slows back down again for tier 3, but it still have some useful tanks in tier 3 that you could use. They're super fun, like the Kong, Lee. I've had a lot of fun with Lee, but tier 3 for me, where I'm at, is basically just extra slots for my tier 2 units. I've seen a lot of people say on Discord, which, by the way, if you play this game, you've got to get on Discord. There's a ton of good gameplay information shared there. Lots of people that know what they're talking about, willing to help out. Super friendly chat. We have a ton of fun there. Sometimes it's more fun than the game, but, that's just for hearsay. But overall, I hear a lot of people say or ask, what's the best unit in the game? What's the best unit I can put in my deck? What's the best unit I can do for this or that? And honestly, in my opinion, the best thing I could say for that is versatility. The more versatile your unit is, the better and longer it will last in battle. But really, it's up to the player and how he or she feels that unit will perform in their battle strategy throughout the game. I can say my favorite units for USA though are the Ranger, the the Chaffee, and the Sherman. I mean, by far, those are the, you know, 3 most influential units in my decks at all times. Don't be afraid to experiment with new units, you know, as you gain new units through playing this game. Learn what they do, get real-time game experience with them, see what happens, how they're useful for you, you know. Don't forget to use USA's commander's abilities. The cheap one for 12 CP, I think, Direct Strike, is large enough to cover the entire size of a resource crate. It's strong enough to take out a pillbox while being built. The satellite vision, the ability number 2, for 35 CP, I believe it is. That's perfect for when your opponent's just out of range and you can't see what's shooting at you from long distance. Pop the satellite, see what they got. The more you know, the better you can be prepared for what's coming. And then their third ability, the direct assault, man, that's probably my favorite commander ability in the whole game, just because the artwork is just freaking beautiful and awesome to look at while it's going off. But that thing is beastly. It is literally meant to move whatever is in your way out of your way. Literally. Use these abilities often as possible. I promise you will not regret it. Which leads me to my next point about playing USA. They can be very micro intensive because of their commander abilities, their placement value. You know, sometimes you have to lead the assault or direct strike to where your opponent's going. That can be very tricky. Sometimes you can catch them while they're sitting still. But, you know, while doing the commander ability and micromanaging your units and everything going on the battlefield, it can get pretty intense. But believe me, stick with it, stay patient. It's worth it because their commander abilities is definitely 30% of, you know, USA's ability to win and take over. So in total, I guess any advice that I would have for a new to medium play style player, you know, learn your units, take advantage of what they can and can't do. Learn your maps. Know how to use the terrain of the map to your advantage, where you need to be, you know, where you need to go, how you need to get there, what's going to block damage in the line of fire, stuff like that. Don't forget about your commander abilities. Those are very useful, very important during battle, especially for USA. Remember, it's okay to retreat a unit in battle. Let it get back to the base and heal up and rejoin the battle later, fully healed. It's much better than buying a new unit. I would also say don't look at a loss as a bad thing. A loss is a lesson learned just as much as a victory is a win. Okay, it works both ways. When you lose, you'll learn what the opponent did that worked against you. You're learning your weaknesses, such as playstyle, where maybe you place your units wrong in attack against the enemy units and your little army got wiped out or something like that. Or maybe it was a weakness in your loadout where, you know, you had a unit matchup in one game where you learned that this wasn't so favorable. Let me replace it with another unit, see if this one does any better. You know, you're always moving forward, trying to advance the strategy.
And there you have it. Many thanks to our USA Advisor Killbot420 again for giving the time to do this and for all the pointers. As he have also mentioned, if you would like to come and hang out with all of us, or if you have more questions, or you have additional points that you would like to share, we are all quite active in the World War Army Discord server. So yeah, find us there. Alright, that's all for now. See you in the next one. Bye.